Hello, Glasgow Movie Addict here, hope you're all well. In this video review I'm going to be talking about the movie which I watched for my Tuesday evening cinema trip. None other than new highly anticipated horror and fifth instalment of the Evil Dead franchise, Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise stars Alyssa Sutherland and Lily Sullivan as two sisters, Ellie and Beth, who are quite estranged. Beth goes to visit Ellie, who's a single mother living with her three kids in a block of flats in the city. However, after an earthquake, the infamous Book of the Dead rears its ugly head, appears in a vault discovered by one of the children, and then, true to Evil Dead form, all hell breaks loose. You have your supernatural entity that flies through the air, and you have people turning into flesh-possessing demons, and this, that, and all the next thing that you get from an Evil Dead movie. Now, I'm usually quite critical of supernatural horrors, horror films in general, and franchise horrors, but I do think Evil Dead is actually one of my favourite franchises. I have seen the first one from way back, the original with Bruce Campbell, and I also recently watched the 2013 Fede Alvarez remake. This one is directed by Lee Cronin, who is an Irish director who you may recognise from the Irish horror from 2019 called Hole in the Ground. And in my view, Evil Dead Rise does hit all the right notes. Firstly, you have the really, what they've done with this one, instead of just being a remake where it's like out in a cabin in the woods somewhere and the book is found, they've moved the setting to the city, to the apartment block, to this sort of run-down apartment building, almost not quite derelict, lived in by people, but it's going to be demolished at some point. And I think that the film makes really good use of the setting. You have the flashing lights in the hallway, you have the darkness, really good cinematography, really good lighting, which I think makes the most of the new setting. I also like the fact that instead of it being another remake in the cabin, that they have moved the franchise to the city, and something a little bit innovative, a little bit different, but I still think that at the same time they the film does a lot of nods to the original Evil Dead, and there is like your sort of standard zombies, demons stuff, a lot of that really sort of ramps up the horror, ramps up the blood and guts and the gore, and ramps up the suspense. Criticisms I have of this film is that it's slightly predictable. I think that the shocks aren't necessarily shocks, and the reason for that is because you do see a lot of the infamous scenes in the trailer, unfortunately. The scene where where Ellie's possessed by a demon and says the famous line, "Mummy's with the maggots now," that's in the trailer. But it's very, very scary, very good. I just wish that I hadn't seen it before. I hadn't seen it already in the trailer. Acting is sort of what you'd expect from a standard horror film. I don't really know the two main leads very well, or the children, the people that play Ellie's children. There's no Bruce Campbell in this one, and a lot of Evil Dead fans say that Evil Dead's not Evil Dead without Bruce Campbell. Another show I watched after it, I've started watching, is Ash versus the Evil Dead, which is on Netflix, and that's in my view even better than this film. But as a horror, Evil Dead Rise is one of my favourite horror movies of 2023. It hits all the right notes. People who like Evil Dead, I think, would like this one. It isn't quite as dark in tone as the Fede Alvarez remake from 2013. Lee Cronin has put his own stamp on it, but at the same time there's a lot of nods to the original films. You've got your chainsaws, and you've got and Lily Sullivan plays the sort of Bruce Campbell type character in the end. But Evil Dead Rise, let me know what you think of it, comment below. But I really enjoyed it. and at an hour and a half long, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I would give Evil Dead Rise, I'll go as far as to give it an 8.5 out of 10. But let me know what you think, comment below. Have you seen Evil Dead Rise? And my name is Robert, you're listening to Glasgow Movie Addict, and I will be back on my next review. Thanks for listening, speak to you soon, bye bye.